Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
Shame on you.
Tell them.
Shame on you. That's it. Shame on you.
The family of 23-year-old Stephon Clark, joined tonight by Black Lives Matter protesters blocks away from the home where Clark was shot to death by Sacramento police officers. The house where it happened, still blocked off by police tape, is Clark's grandparents' home, where family says Stephon Clark was living.
An innocent black man going to his grandma and grandpa's house where he lived? Now, how you going to explain that? How you going to justify that?
Someone was breaking into cars. It was a sheriff's department helicopter that directed police on the ground to Clark. A deputy watching from above advised them he had broken a window to the home. Sacramento police officers say they tried to take Clark into custody, but he refused their verbal instructions.
Looked back at our officers and faced them and had an object in his hand, and pointed it at our officers, and at that time our officers believed that it was a firearm, and out of fear for their own lives, they fired their service weapons.
Protesters tonight said Stephon Clark was holding a wrench. The two officers didn't move, according to the police department spokesman, for 5 minutes while they waited for backup. Fire department paramedics eventually responded too and pronounced Clark dead. His family disputes that he was confronting the officers at all, saying instead he was shot as he was moving away.
In the back. You know, how, so that means
police officers have been placed on paid administrative leave while the incident is being investigated, which is standard department protocol in cases of an officer-involved shooting. And the officers involved were wearing body cameras at the time of the shooting. Under a 2016 City Council rule, Sacramento police are required to make footage of an officer. Alto reportedly was recording from above.
Cops shoot unarmed dad in the back, kill him for holding a phone in his grandparents' backyard. Police officers ambushed a man in his family's backyard and fired several rounds into his back, killing him because they claimed the phone in his hand was a gun. By Rachel Blevins, March 20, 2018. Sacramento, CA, a father was shot and killed in the backyard of his grandparents' house after police claimed he was the robbery suspect they were searching for, and they opened fire because they thought he was holding a gun. They later found out that he was actually holding his phone and was not armed. Stephen Clark, 23, was shot and killed by police around 9:30 p.m. on Sunday night. The confrontation began when officers started their search for a black man wearing a black hooded sweatshirt and dark pants who was reportedly breaking into cars in the neighborhood. A police helicopter was helping conduct surveillance in the area, and its officers claimed that they spotted the suspect in the backyard of one of the houses, attempting to break into a sliding glass door with a toolbar. While the officers then claimed that the suspect went back to the front of the home and started looking into the windows of another car, the deputies on the ground entered a backyard and found Clark on his grandparents' property. Sequita Thompson, Clark's grandmother, told the Sacramento Bee that it was normal for Clark and other guests to enter the home through the backyard because the front doorbell doesn't work, and she and her husband, who is in a wheelchair, have poor mobility. The officers claim that when they entered the backyard and confronted Clark, they feared for their lives because they saw an object in his hand, assumed it was a gun, and immediately started shooting at him. He looked back at our officers and faced them. And had something, an object in his hand, and pointed it at our officers, Sacramento Police Sergeant Vance Chandler said. And at that time our officers believed it was a firearm, and out of fear for their own lives they fired their service weapons. However, investigators have confirmed that Clark was not armed with a gun or a toolbar. The only object found next to his body that had been in his hand was his phone. Thompson said she was near the window when the shooting happened, and she did not hear police issuing any kinds of commands before she heard 4 consecutive gunshots ring out, and she immediately dropped to the floor and crawled across the house to check on her husband and her 7-year-old granddaughter. Both Thompson and her husband were not immediately aware that police were responsible for the gunshots or who they were targeting, and they called 911 to report it. Officers came to the back of their house and asked to come inside and ask them questions. Thompson complied and said it was not until she decided to get up and look out the window into her backyard that she realized her grandson had been killed. "I opened that curtain and he was dead," she said. "I started screaming." The officers who shot Clark made no attempt to render aid, and his body was left on the ground until backup arrived. While the officers claimed they opened fire because Clark was facing them with an object in his hand, his family has maintained that he was actually shot in the back. Sharnita Crosby, Clark's aunt, told Fox 40 that she believes he had just entered the yard and was walking to the back door of the house when the officers ambushed him and opened fire. "In the back, so that means he was running," Crosby said. "So that means that he was probably saying, 'This is my grandmama's house. This is where I live. Leave me alone.'" The two officers responsible for shooting and killing Clark were placed on a taxpayer-funded vacation, or paid administrative leave, while the incident is investigated. The city's policy requires body camera footage to be released within 30 days of the shooting. Before he was killed, Stephen Clark was a loving father of 2 sons, ages 1 and 3. Now his children are left growing up without a father and his family is forced to mourn his death, all because police chose to take his life while accusing him of a crime they still have yet to prove he committed.
County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon or $5 a month on Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head, help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.